Good morning, everyone, and welcome to the On Time, On Target morning briefing, where we invest with fighter pilot precision every day. This is the teen edition of the morning briefing. So a shout out to Joey and Austin for helping me kind of get the word out. But why I want this focused on teens is because every single one of you, if you talk to your parents about investing, the number one theme out there is, I wish I would have started sooner. I wish I would have known more sooner. So here's a little bit of a teaser while I'm walking you through a very adult scenario with investing, for you to listen and learn and really think about it. And for my questions of the day that I always take from my squadron, which are particular to you today, and I do have one teen member of the squadron, so that's pretty cool. And he's obviously going to do very well because he's brilliant. With that, the questions I'm going to talk about today are how to open a custodial account. What's the difference between getting rich and wealth building? And what's the rule of 72, which is really kind of all you need to know about compound interest. So I'm excited to kind of tailor the briefing to you folks today, and hopefully you get a lot out of it. If you're catching us on replay, you can subscribe. Just go ahead and hit subscribe to join us, and you get these notifications on these every day. If you want to join us live, it's only $25 a month. You can go to OTOT now to sign up. And with that, let's go ahead and get started. All right, welcome back, everyone, and thanks again for joining me this morning. All right, let's go ahead and get set up for our morning briefing, making sure you have your chat window open and your Q&A window open so you can ask the questions. I also posted in the chat the names we're going to look at long today. It's kind of the return of Chinese tech today based on some earnings that happened across the world last night. So a bunch of names shooting higher. And then as far as the short side, nothing really for you, not much on the way down here as far as significance. So we'll get into those here in a minute. And again, remember in your chat window that you have all attendees selected so everybody can hear your input. All right, standard disclaimer applies. This is a financial education presentation, so you have to do your own due diligence before you act on anything you hear in this presentation. All right, mission objectives today: grow our money, protect our money, and live off our money. Specifically, we're talking about growing our money. And I am focusing this towards teens, like I said in the intro. So really, that's our long-term investor topic today: investing for teens and how to build wealth. So let me get it out there right now. If you are saving up to buy a car, that's not really wealth building, that's saving and budgeting. We're talking about putting money away for your future that can grow over time and build lifelong habits, that so when you get to your parents' age, you have that nice big house that they probably have, and the nice cars that they probably have, and go to nice vacations like you probably do. Well, that stuff doesn't magically happen. Your parents didn't sit back and somebody gave that to them. For the most part, they had to earn that, and a lot of it's either you out there working to do it, meaning physically trading your time and expertise to make the money, or you do that and save and invest, which is now your money making money. Over what the one advantage you have over somebody like me is you have time. I started when I was 16. I say that's a huge example for a huge reason why I am where I am today is because my parents got me started early, and I got interested in it, and I dedicated myself to it, and voila, here I am. So if that's something you'd like to do, listen in. Got a lot of good information for you today. The questions, we'll talk real brief at the end about custodial accounts and then the rule of 72, kind of how that works. And if that doesn't light your fire, I don't know what will, because it is good stuff. All right, our flow today, long, short, open, short, long. What that means for the new listeners out there is that we're going to do the market review. We're going to do the headline review, which is what moves markets. The long-term investments we're going to take a look at are names that you know of. If you've ever heard of a game called Fortnite, well, Fortnite was made by Epic Games. Epic Games is 40% owned by Tencent Holdings, which is a Chinese firm. So when you think, hey, if I'm out there paying 50 cents for skins or whatever it is that you particularly do, then how do I get on the other side of that? So myself, who sits back and says the youth of America, I know Fortnite's a little bit out, but when it was super popular, it was hey, if they're all going to spend 50 cents to the tune of millions at a time, how do I sit back as an adult and just make money off of that, because that makes me happy? So Tencent Holdings, 40% owner of that. That's how you can invest in something Snap is Snapchat. Maybe you've heard of that. Ha ha. Maybe you live on that, right? So here's how you can own the stock, and we'll talk about some of that. Sony, Apple, Tesla, if you like Elon Musk or like electronic vehicles, Tesla or Disney, if you're Disney princesses, if that's your thing and going to theme parks, then you can invest in that. All right, short-term scorecard. We will try to squeeze a couple trades in today. Again, they're all going to be long. I only have one short name for you, and I don't really like it. Burner, I see your comment. Let me repost the trades again for you here in the room. And there we go. All right. Thanks for a heads up on that, Burner. And welcome, Silver. I was talking about you earlier before you showed up. This is the teen edition. So good to have you. We use call signs here so nobody knows who you are, and I like it that way. All right. Let's see. Contingencies are a standard. All right. Let's take a look at where we are in the market. Going over to TD Ameritrade. This is a one-year chart from left to right of the S&P 500, the arguably most common when you talk about the market. You're talking about the SPY. Excuse me. So you can see that, since the election, we've kind of run up. We've had the vaccine news on Monday, so that took markets higher. And then we had a rotation as we zoom in on the 5-day here. When you really look at the rotation we've had, it was a rotation. The vaccine news comes out late Sunday night. Market shoots higher, and it's mostly value names, right? Cruise lines, airlines, movie theaters. Well, and the NASDAQ actually sold off. So the tech names were selling off. So we had this huge rotation. And, we started seeing some nonsense out there like tech is dead and value is the way to go. And I agreed that lasted, they're right for 3 days. I mean, congrats on being right for 3 days, but all that stuff is unwinding. It started yesterday and it's continuing on today. Tech is back after, being defeated for a whopping 3 days. It's back for its multi-decade run. But anyhow, up to you. If you like investing in airlines and hope they don't go bankrupt, then that is on you. All right, as far as the earnings calendar, the big names, I didn't pull up the right chart today. Big names that are out are Tencent Holdings that we already talked about, TCEHY. Beat earnings, Pinduoduo, if you've heard that name, PDD is the ticker, also a Chinese firm. They crushed earnings and are up 25%. The big on this side of the pond, though, the big earnings that are out today for the first time since their direct listing is Palantir. So PLTR, they're up like 60% since we got in on the direct listing, 3 weeks ago, 4 weeks ago. So been kind of crazy. There is a lot of excitement. And if you followed the Facebook days of, raging into the earnings, right? And, and then it tends to sell off after the earnings, because what's going to happen during the earnings call is, Palantir going to say we cured cancer or, defeated COVID. No, they're going to post great numbers and everybody's going to go, oh, I thought they were saving the world, and the stock will sell off. So don't get too excited and start buying in today, but it certainly is fun to watch it go up as fast as it has. All right. And then while we're here, this will be our day trading chart, looking at VIP Shop, VIPS first, JD second, and then Tencent Holdings that we've talked about a couple times. Third, we'll come back to that when it comes to trading time. All right, let's take a look at CNBC.com at where we are in the markets. Excuse me. All right, let's refresh this. All right, so there's where we are. We're mixed. Again, there's a rotation back out of value into some tech names, not a whole lot, but Dow down a couple hundred, that's a percent, whatever. It's just run up pretty significantly for the past few days. Let's look across the world. In Europe, down across the board. Remember, London's in lockdown, and we'll get to it in headlines this morning. Biden's COVID #1 guy is talking about a 4 to 6 week lockdown for the US to defeat this thing. Well, that's going to get everybody excited. We'll get more to that in a second. Okay, Japan is up. Everybody else in Asia is down. Here are our numbers from yesterday. The big, when I say tech is back, that's because the big 2% move up in the NASDAQ that we saw. So, return of tech. All right, there's our bonds. Not a whole lot of movement. Oil, again, stable above 40. We like that. And then just a very slight move in the precious metals. All right, let's take a look around the world. All right. Okay, there is a runaway from Facebook right now due to the political censorship that's going on, the post-election censorship, I should say. TikTok's doing their best. Of course, Snapchat, you may have heard of Parler. I'm not going to go down the road. I'm not leaving Facebook over this issue, but I understand there's people feel strongly about it and they got to do what they got to do. All right, let's see. Jobless numbers were in this morning. So improving labor market. There was an interesting comment the other day. Said on the recovery from COVID, or really any big bear market like we saw, is wealth returns first and then the jobs return. So again, that explains why the market kind of precedes the jobs numbers there pretty significantly. So, yep, if Trump never concedes, he'll be out at the end of his term. I saw that. That was an interesting article if you're worried about such things. Okay, here it was. The COVID advisor, lockdown of 4 to 6 weeks. You start saying lockdown to America and you think there's enough freaking out about the election right now that's freaking out again. Well, that explains the move in the market, which is what we care about in this forum. You can get the rest off of TV. But when you start talking lockdown, guess what? Now airlines, cruise lines, movie theaters, restaurants all start tanking, right? Again, so that's why I don't play with that stuff, in my opinion. But that's where tech is back, right? Now Peloton and Zoom Netflix are going to rage back higher because we're going to be locked away forever. Well, 4 to 6 weeks, we'll see. Obviously, Texas setting records. If you saw that headline, over 1 million cases in Texas alone. Kind of crazy. Veteran special batch of whiskey to age with speed in a Harrier jet. I will have to read about that. That's like taking a bunch of cool stuff and putting it together. Okay, that's it for headlines that we're going to talk about. Let's go ahead and take a look at, all right, for back to the teens. If you want to research a stock, there's only one website you need to go, and that's FinViz. And it's got a lot of information, and I get it. You probably won't understand it, but that's okay. Start there and then pull up the ticker. Let's say Snapchat, Snap, bam. Pull up Snap. You can look at the chart. You can go, there's what the price is today. You can go down here and you'll learn all about this in your business courses or self-teach. I don't care. But you'll learn what all of these mean. And then you have upgrades, downgrades. That's pretty self-explanatory. Here's a bunch of articles if you want to read till the end of time. Several articles a day out about Snap. And then it gets down into board of directors, whether they're buying or selling, blah, 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 blah. More than you'll ever be able to process. But take a look here first when you start looking at generally names. All right, let's go over to Schwab now. I have a different screen for you. There's 6 stocks that I would say if you are interested in starting investing in your teens, folks will tell you, and most advisors will tell you, buy an index fund, don't touch it, blah, blah, blah. Here's the problem: boredom. Boredom is a problem. I got that. I mean, we're all in kind of pandemic lockdown. You know about boredom. Boredom at 51 is the same as boredom at 16, right? It's boredom. So in investing, to me, it's important to be interested in what you own. If you're not interested, then it's not going to be something that you're going to really stick to, right? So here are some names that I will throw out for you. Tencent Holdings, we talked about. That's kind of the Fortnite play. It's also, I keep saying Fortnite, and I know that's dated because everybody's left. It's not cool anymore. I got that. But other games that they're buying, they're constantly going through this cycle. It's actually Tencent Holdings company. So they have a bunch of crap, bunch of games and things like that they're going to make money off of because they know how to do that. Snap, you know about. I'm not a fan. I'm not saying go buy this and that it's going to go to 10x your money in a week. I'm just saying that if it's a name you know and you're on it all the time, I don't think Snap has a great advertising platform, so I'm not invested in it personally. Sony, I am invested in it, and I have clients in it. PlayStation 5's coming out. Guess what? You can't get the damn thing. So I've been trying, and I can't even get on the wait list. So that's a good sign. So going into the Christmas season, I like that. Apple, I don't know. Yeah, you got an Apple phone and Apple AirPods and watches and a whole suite of MacBook Airs and all kinds of stuff. It's a good place to store money because Apple's going to be around a while. It's got a great leader in Tim Cook, and I don't see him going anywhere anytime soon. You have Tesla out there. Not a fan of the stock, love the car, but Elon Musk is a visionary. If you follow him and you want some Tesla stock, you can do so. And then Disney, like I said, if you like going to parks, you like watching movies. And ESPN is also a part of Disney. So if you're in the sports arena, you may be interested in owning some Disney. All right. That is it for the long-term names. Now we're switching our hats. We've got 4 minutes to the open to figure out our game plan. So let's take a look at the three longs that we're going to take a look at VIPS. VIP shop going long. We're looking for 100,000 in volume. It's got 78. We're going to call that close enough. It's at 20.90 up to 21. It does have room to run. I'm looking at a 25-cent stop, maybe 20 cents if I can get that for the R unit out there. JD.com, another Chinese tech firm. Plenty of volume here. 82 up to 86 is where it's sitting right now. So again, both these are up at about 5%. So kind of in that wheelhouse of 5 to 10% going higher. You can take a look at those. And the last one, 10-cent holdings. This is the one that had the actual earnings beat this morning. So you can see down here in the news, Q3 results. And it's at 73. Currently at 76. It was just up at 82 a few days ago. So I really like how this is positioned. The issue is it's low volume, so you kind of have to wait on this. But I plan on taking one, two, or three of these higher here at the open. There's a lot of momentum behind them. All right. Let's see, 2.5 minutes. Another name for you to look at, PLTR, Palantir. Again, this has been crazy, right? 20 days ago it was at 9, now it's at 16. I'm not buying into earnings, but if you believe, you can. Let's see, and GrowGen is another name if you want to take it long. GrowGen, they beat earnings this morning. It's a nice, easy price point, plenty of volume. They're at 21, gapping up to 22.60, so they could run higher as well. All right, so as far as the short side, I've got nothing for you on the big screen except for TRUP, Trupanion. I don't know what they do. There's no new headlines and there's no news out, but they are marked. They do meet our criteria of what we're looking for as far as gapping down from 84 down to 81. I'm not even going to pull it up on the screen, but if you have to get your short on this morning, then that's the one for you. All right, let's switch over to our day trading screens and we will get rid of me and get everything set up. Okay. All right, I have on these on 5-minute charts so you kind of see where we are. I'm going to back these down to 1 minute for our trading and zoom in. Again, I like them from left to right on increasing how much I like them. So you kind of have to wait for 10 cent. I almost like that the best, but we just can't get there. I need to get my own ticker set up this morning, or these set up to go. There I am. Looking at VIP shop first, VIPS, long. That number of shares works out and ready to go. All right, 30 seconds to the open. Welcome to the on time, on target play of the day. We have 4 screens in front of you. At the far left, we have a 1-minute SPY chart. So again, the S&P 500, so we can monitor what the overall market is doing. We have VIP shop, JD, and 10 cent holdings. These are all China tech names that have been bouncing off of 10 cent, actually had the earnings. And the other two are basically sympathetic. They travel with 10 cent. So I like them best. So VIP shop, you're looking at about a 25 cent stop on the downside. There's the opening bell. For the other two, you're looking at closer to $1. So we'll see how they act at the open here. All right, not a lot of movement yet out of VIP Shop. JD's running up nicely. We'll get zoomed in on that for both of these. Looks like VIP Shop's not open yet. That's not uncommon. Don't freak out. All right, 10 cents a little slow to open as well. Again, these are ADRs, American Depository Receipts, which is the American version of the same stock over trading on the foreign exchanges. All right, the market for the SPY is going higher a little bit here, so getting closer to even. All right, we have plenty of volume. This is volume down here, 150 volume already into 10 cent. I'm going to bail on VIP Shop and move over to 10 cent holdings because I like the volume here. So I have to correct my ticker real quick. No, I do not want to do that. I want to do this. All right, looks like VIP Shop is open now, but I've switched over to 10 cent holdings. All right, we are going to enter at take it here at 76.35. So long. Let me get mine in. And we'll talk stops. All right, looking for a dollar stop here. So 76.35 is the entry point. At the high of the day, obviously, you probably got a little better than that since it was the exact high of the day. So 75.35 is our stop down here. And again, we are taking this long. That's a fairly big stop. Probably don't need all of that, but that's okay. I want a nice trade for today and give a little bit of room. You see in the far left screen that the market's starting to sell off a little bit. So we'll keep an eye on that. So we're in this trade. We're in at 76.35, $1 stop. And again, we need 77.35. It'd be our first R all the way up to 79.35 is what we're going for there based off of the earnings. All right, let's zoom in on this. Whoa, zoomed in too far there. Go to right here. Okay, so that's where we are. It does have the volume in it. I'm in it. Let me check my exact entry point. And again, if your entry point, it's going to be better than 76.35. I'm 76.27 myself, so I'm technically right here. But we based all our math off the 76.35 for the entry because that's when I called it. All right, let's see what's going in with VIP Shop. Again, it opened up a little late. 22, it's only moved, it's moved basically 40 cents up. Well, it opened right here and then dropped, so 20%. So not a lot of movement there. It's still in the wheelhouse of our 5 to 10%. JD has flipped and sold off, so can't touch that one. All right, we're in the green now on 10 cents, so we're just going to hold that. I do expect this to go up to the 5 to 8% range as we sit here and watch it, but we shall see. So we're in this trade. Again, for those that may be listening, if you're in your teens, you probably don't need to be day trading. If you are, well, you don't need to be day trading. That's a fact. But if you want to practice or learn about it, you can get a paper account, meaning it's just paper money, and day trade away for funsies. And in that way, you can kind of learn about the math. It is really the advanced application of probability. It's the exact same math that goes into if you happen to be cutting your teeth at playing poker out there. Again, another thing that shouldn't be taken lightly. Treat it like a business. Understand the probabilities that you have on hand, and then apply those probabilities. In our situation, each time you hear me talk about risking 1 R. So whatever it is, if your R is here we have a dollar stop. So if you're going to risk $100 to make 300, you would buy 100 shares. And if it hits your lower stop, again, because we're going long here, that's why I have the arrow. If it hits your lower stop, you sell. You don't outthink it. You don't hope you don't think, oh, it's going to come back. You simply, like a complete robot, you sell and you are out and you are done and you are down 1 R. And that's the most you can lose in one day. Now, if this continues higher to 79, like I think it will, it's not exactly screaming higher, but if it goes raging, through the day, if it hits up to 79.35, which again, I'll come back and cut a play of the day if it actually hits it, with the other lines drawn on here so you can see it. But that's what you're looking for, is to, when you're right, you need to get paid. You need to get paid the full 3R. So that way you can offset the times when you're wrong. So it's small losses, big gains. It's literally a big discipline math equation. So, but that's enough on that. Let's go ahead. We've got our trade set up. I'm not going to take either of these two. I don't like the way they're looking. Let's go back to Lee Automotive, was up huge earlier. Again, Chinese automaker. 10%. You know what I'm bringing up next? XPEV. Yep, XPeng, same thing. They're up 10%. Okay, they were up a lot more earlier. All right, let's take a look at GrowGen. See if it would have worked for the long. Yeah, it's stagnant. I mean, this is what? Yeah, it's still a 70-cent move. So if you caught it here, so if you're going to take a delayed setup, you're literally probably not going to get back in until 22. That'd be a tough road. It'd need to be over 23 to make money there. All right, what was the other one? PLTR. Palantir. Don't get crazy with the cheese whiz on this one. Again, with earnings after the bell, anything could happen. So trader's dream. I don't use options a whole lot because I have enough money to not have to worry about it. But if you're out there going, hey, why wouldn't we use options? It's like, if I were to trade something like Palantir that's going to be all over the map, I would use options, but I don't. It takes too long. The math is hard, and I would rather swing a bigger bat and just either own the stock or short the stock. So enough on that. Let's take a look at our one short and see if that would have worked. TRUP. Again, I don't know what they do. But it would not have worked, and there's not enough volume. So this is where if you buy a couple thousand shares, you're going to move the market. It's actually almost back to even. So that would not have worked. Let's check Luckin Coffee. If you like coffee, Luckin, you're back below $5. So it closed below 5 yesterday. I was hoping to see that kind of move higher with the rest of tech today as well. All right, catching some headlines from around the other markets. So NASDAQ still in the green at 0.3, Dow Jones down 0.5%, and S&P down 0.3. All right, so here's our trade. Quick update. We're about where we entered it. So boring, but that's okay because it's got a good setup for going higher. Let's take a look at some other names out there. Clickstream is up. I'm on the left-hand part of this chart. So Clickstream is up. NIO is a name you may know, is a Chinese automaker as well. Shroom is a psychedelic, Northwest Biotech, 10-cent holdings. You know about KWeb. I've been pounding the table on KWeb and buying a ton of it. So you're welcome if you happen to be a client. Twilio on fire, Activision, EA, Espo, Hero. Those are all gaming stocks. So again, as a teen, if you're still listening, good on you. The gaming opportunities are huge out there. We're filling stadiums with these people to where people my age generally like scoff, and it's like, what? No, this is real. I got that, and there's a bunch of money. There's Take-Two Interactive bouncing around there. So it's real. It's a thing. Own the stock, get paid for it, right? All right, let's see what's going on in the downside once this clicks over, which looks like it's not going to, so we'll do it the other way. All right, all the way at the bottom is Hyliion. That's a electric truck maker. Prudential, Realty Income, Doc. These are basically all the names that you see down here. There's Delta Airlines right here. All those names are the ones that, oh my gosh, we're on fire. Everybody's so excited to have. The value trade is back, all of that, blah, blah, blah. Those are all the names they're kind of selling off, including Boeing, an airline name, and a bunch of residential, not residential, but real estate investment trusts down here at the bottom. Okay, so let's go back up to the top and check our trade real quick. Okay, trade is basically flat, so we will check back on that later. I'm going to keep it up on a side screen, but I'm taking it away from you to go over to, not my trading account, that's none of your business, over to, back to Google Chrome and Investopedia. So if you're out there and you're trying, whether you're an adult or a teen, and you're trying to teach yourself about investing, Investopedia is the Wikipedia equivalent. So if you happen to be doing all your schoolwork by looking up stuff on Wikipedia, well, good on you. That's a pretty good source, right? It's a secondary source, but that's for later on, like when you're in college. But it does have the primary sources at the bottom, so you can reverse source it to get to a primary source. But Investopedia, if you want to learn, so Investopedia has, just Google Investopedia and then whatever it is. This happens to be on custodial accounts. Investopedia knows that you want stuff presented to you at the lowest level. So sometimes they have video in here that runs for about 2 minutes to explain something to you. So it's like Khan Academy for Dummies kind of thing. But I don't see one there. We'll see one over here, I believe. There's your Rule 72, minute and 10 seconds explains it to you. We'll get to that in a second. All right, so as a teen, can you invest directly? No, you have to be an adult to have a custodial account. Well, excuse me, to have a brokerage account. So what they can do, and what my parents did for me and what your parents can do for you, is they co-sign that and they open it up and it's in your name, but they're the custodian. So they're the ones that are signing things. They're the ones that can move money in and out. They're the ones that can make all the decisions. But you can, once it's open, you can get in there and trade, not day trade. I'm talking about deciding to buy, a share of Palantir, because you've heard that's like Peter Thiel, and he's always, everything he touches turns to gold, which you'd be right. And it's $16 a share. So it's something you can afford with a lot of, with money you're putting in. So, but you can log in and make those trades. That's fine. But the actual opening of the account has to be under the adult's name. When does the money become yours? The money becomes yours in the state of Texas at the age of termination, which is 21 years. So you can't pull this money out and go buy a car, which again, you're not wealth building if you're doing that. But you cannot touch this money without your custodian's permission until you're 21. So consider. But you can put your own money in, and they can match money into it. So you might propose to your parents, it's like, hey, I want to get started. How about I put $500 in? If I do that, of my own money, will you match with 500 of your money? They might buy that. My parents basically matched everything I did. So I was like, all right, I can do free money. But what you're really doing there, from parents and teens alike, is you're building habit patterns. You're educating yourself, you're building habit patterns, and you're talking about wealth building, not necessarily getting rich. So that's custodial accounts. Let's go to Rule 72. So right now we're going to talk about getting rich versus wealth building. Wealth building means you're worth more tomorrow than you are today. I don't care if you are 16, 17, 18, 51, 85, 99. Wealth building means that you are dedicated to being worth more tomorrow than you are today. Spending is a big part of that. So if you are putting money into an account and you're saving your $100 a month and you're trying to save up, so when you get $4,000, you can buy a car. It's not really wealth building. That's just saving, that's budgeting, and that's setting a goal, which is good. But you know what, once you do all of that work to get to your $4,000 and you take it out and you buy a car with it, well, guess what? You don't have, your account goes back to zero. And that's why adults can arrive at the age of 40 or 50 with no money, right? Because they keep saving and investing, but then when it gets big enough to actually do something with it, they do something with it. So that's trying to get rich, but then you keep spending it away. So you're not wealth building at that point. So, and when I say tomorrow and today, we're not trying to look to get there quick. It's like a lifelong process. You're not trying to win the lottery. Even if you're trying to invent an app to go out and make some money, really it's not going to happen instantly. Don't try to take shortcuts. It's going to take time. That's why day trading, some people see that as a shortcut. I simply supplement my income with it. But if you should not be trying to get rich, you should try to build wealth slowly over time. There's several books that talk about this. If you have a get rich quick mentality, I can give you $1 million and you will spend it because you will just try to get rich again. It's like, no, that's stupid, in my opinion. Some people are like that, do what you want. The build wealth is you only have to get rich once, i.e. you build wealth over time and then you don't turn around and give it back or do dumb stuff with it, right? So hold on to the money that you make and invest. Now, how much can you make? So when you think, okay, you have $4,000, let's go 5,000 because that'll make the math easier. So if you have $5,000 by the time you graduate from college, the rule of 72 tells you that you can basically, I'll show you the equation because I know you like what's the equation. Years to double, 72 divided by the interest rate. So your money will double. Say the interest rate is 9, which means your rate of return from investing. If you can get 9% on your money will double every 8 years. So you graduate college with $5,000. Well, in 8 years, that's 10. In another 8 years, that's 20. In another 8 years, that's 40. In another 8 years, that's $80,000. Yeah, right? Just by saving and investing. So that's how your money has the power to work for you. If you get 8% on your money, then it's going to take 9 years to double. So that's where it's kind of key to get good investment returns. And to be able to do that, if you have the risk tolerance for it, you need to take some risk. In a market that has jumped, that 15 to 20% for a year for the past decade, most of us that have been invested since 2007, even before the market fell for the great global financial crisis that we had, our money has tripled and quadrupled in that time. So if you're bebopping along in your 30s with, $500,000, guess that's what that's worth now. Yeah, 2 to 3 million. I mean, that's how that works. Now, if you start reaching into it and spending it, then you won't have it. So you got to let it grow, and you got to leave your money in here and let compound interest work for you. If you can understand compound interest, you will be very wealthy someday. All right, so that's what I've got for you. Let me check back to my questions. Covered all of that. Pretty quiet in the chat today, and then no questions on your side. All right, let's check back to our trade because it's starting to get some life to it. And then I'll close out for the day. So here's where we are in the trade. So zoom out here a little bit. So we took it again, 76.35. You might got a little better entry than that. And the next stop for the 1 hour point is 77.35. So it's getting some life to it. We're going to go ahead and let that cook. So for trade parameters, leave your lower stop in here is what I would recommend. If you really are risk averse, you can bring your stop up to 75.95. So that way you will only lose a very little if this thing flips on you, but you want to leave it running to the upside. If it doesn't hit either your upper stop of 79.35 or your lower stop of 75.35 by the end of the day, check back 5 minutes prior, which is 2:55 local here, Central Standard Time, and kill the trade. Do not hold it overnight. That's not a trade. Then you're often doing some other strategy. So anyhow, that's where we are with that. Thank you so much for listening this morning, teens. Hopefully you got a lot out of this, and reach out to me at Steve@OTOT now if you have any questions. With that, I'm going to let you guys go. You have a good one. We'll see you back tomorrow.